Yoruba land, if Yoruba nation, like Yoruba becomes a country of its own, there's going to be another war in Yoruba land that some of you have probably are not preparing for. And that is, there are extremists in Yoruba land right now. Don't be saying that today, because if they never existed, we will not call them Alakatakiti, Islamic terrorists in Yoruba land, whose ideas, ideologies are so similar to all these ancient murderous terrorists. They are pushing them in Yoruba land. Do you understand? Pushing Sharia in Yoruba land. Right? So Yorubas will have to actually deal with them as well before you can have a country. So when these terrorists that you will block to the Arewa are battling with the because they would eventually take over the place. It will be Hausa, Kanuris, and all of them fight themselves out. But these terrorists, these ones, and the 2 million terrorists, you get that? So the idea is that if APC is destroyed, terrorism will be destroyed in Nigeria. Yeah. The longer they have power, the longer this terrorism would spread. That's why that's why I said Tinubu and those who are Yorubas, what are the advice that these guys, because now this Fulani, Kanuri, and what have you, they are those guys in charge of your national security. Batawale from Zamfara is the Minister of State for Defense. Badaru from Jigawa, the former governor, is the Minister of Defense in Nigeria. Your NSA, Ribadump, is from Adamawa. Now, Tinubu has appointed a chief of army staff who is from, I think it's from Borno. So what's that guy's name? I don't know where he's from, but that new guy. Oluyede, who is also from, I think that one is claiming Oshun or something, right? Is your chief of defense staff. Now, at this point, those ones who are politicians, and you get what I mean now, they should be questioning the kind of advice they are giving to Tinubu. Because if they think looking away, pretending it's not that bad, eventually everybody will move on. If they think that's the same situation right now, then they are not thinking. So there are 12 steps that America will take before they finally strike Nigeria. I was having that conversation with a friend there today, and I said, I read about the steps after declaring Nigeria as a country of particular concern. So I read about the 12 steps that American government could actually really use to end these terrorist guys in Nigeria. Sure you get. So first one is this CPC, country of particular concern. The one that will allow and give America the opportunity to mount pressure on your government, your president, all of them, by placing sanctions on them, placing an embargo on them, on the country, and at the same time placing a monetary sanction like the World Bank will no longer borrow Nigeria money. These are steps, so that's why it's not like immediate. So I'm giving you all these 12 now, but not in particular, in no particular order, right? So World Bank will start giving money. IMF will stop loaning money to Nigeria. Some of Nigerian assets abroad, they will begin to get confiscated. And the properties of these politicians as well will begin to be confiscated, like locked up. Then for those ones who are linked in particular to terrorism, that they have evidence that these ones are funding terrorists, these ones are promoting Sharia, this one supported Sharia, this one is supporting blasphemy, all those names, right? So they'll begin to hunt those ones down. Now, here is the fancy side. So the fancy side that Donald Trump said, boots on ground, guns are blazing. What that one means is like the last one. No, sorry, second to the last one. What that means is that when America comes, they're going to come from all the angles. They will bring their aircraft carriers, right, from North Africa, as well as the Gulf of Guinea to the coast of West Africa. They'll bring them closer. So then they will have actual targets For example, some clerics, some politicians, depends on their role. Some gun runners, some businessmen, people you see as business people, right? But you don't know that they are criminals. So they will highlight them out. Some of these terrorists themselves, all those ones you have seen on social media, I can't remember all their names right now, right? Like Ado Alero, for example, Ado Alero and others. So they will have all their names, their locations, and all that. So the other on these ones, there are those that they will say, all these ones, àwọn dànù, kẹpọba kẹpa balẹ̀, kẹpa lálẹ̀, kẹpa gbogbo ẹni tẹ́ bá bá ń bẹ̀, sort of, right? Kill them. These ones, we want them alive. Guantanamo Bay, Lord, they are going to Guantanamo Bay. So when the operation gets to that stage, right, it simply means they've mapped out the areas they want to operate. And it is not just dropping bomb. No. Here you get. Because the way America works and the way Nigeria should be doing as well is that before you send your soldiers to go and confront terrorists, you should be able to understand their capacity, the kind of guns they are carrying, how many are they, how are they moving back and forth, do they have any captives? You know what I mean? Like, you send the drones, that's normal thing. 4 Marines, just 4, really, came to rescue an American priest that got kidnapped in charge, Boko Haram, and they took him straight to Borno State. Was it Borno or Sokoto? I think it was Sokoto. Doesn't matter. They just took him to Nigeria. They kidnapped him in charge. They were moving him about. Then, when America got all of their intel, you know what happened? 4 Marines, just 4, really, went in and killed more than 36 terrorists, guiding 1 priest. How did they do that? They were monitoring them from the first place they took him. They were about to strike there until they entered Nigeria. So they gave them time. So when these guys who did the job, have you seen the video? When these guys who did the job, they said, how did you carry that out? So, well, it took them just about 2 days or so for the operation in Nigeria because they were already about to do it in that place, but they moved him. So it took them just today because they had to know how many were there, how many of them were armed, what kind of weapons do they have? Do they have weapons? I mean, do they have bombs? So once they figure out everything around them, to move in the middle of the night was easier. They were just taking them out, pa. And they got their man and they left Nigeria straight to one of these, is it called Africom, Abinko? And from there to the US. It was when the guy arrived in America, 48 hours later, that was when the Nigerian media got the wind of it, or maybe they just released it to the media in Nigeria that happened. And embarrassed the Nigerian government, they just kept quiet, pretended that they didn't know, that like it didn't happen. So why can't Nigeria do that? They'll be giving excuses for this terrorist. Not just in private, openly. Celebrating graduation for terrorists while people are still being displaced, killed. That can't be right. You get what I mean? Like, I don't know how you will see it, but it can't be right. Tinubu had no legitimacy. But it was with the what do you call them? It was with the judges in Abuja today. And he was talking about, justice, legitimacy, and all those blah. Even when all I just said happened. You see those soldiers slaughtered and killed by these terrorists, they may not even be able to recover their bodies. The Brigadier General killed on camera by these E-swap guys, right? They may never be able to recover his body. His family may not, never. 25 school children that they kidnapped today. This won't be the first time that APC, Egbekegbe, will be using children in this their devilish, evil, political power mongering. Do you understand? So, but I am not actually counting on that this is what is happening. But the children who have been caught in all of this, they may never bring all of them back safely. And they are hoping tomorrow you'll be talking about something different. And you feel different from like you feel right now. I am yet to see bring back our girls bring back our girls. And I hope that truly, Donald Trump will be Donald Trump. He will start from the last, not from the top, in striking these terrorists and their sponsor. Listen to Kolu talking about legitimacy, and really.
Our judges are the living custodian of justice. The character of their work defines the moral strength of the republic. This is why judicial welfare, training, and independence are not privileges, they are imperatives. We will continue to support the National Judicial Institute as the leading hub for judicial comparative study and professional development. Continuous learning and intellectual renewal must remain the hallmark of the bench. The law evolves daily, and so too must those who interpret and apply it. We must ensure that our judges are not only equipped to interpret the law in contemporary times, but also empowered to shape it in accordance with constitutional values. However, let us be clear, no amount of reform can succeed if integrity is compromised. Justice must never be for sale. The bench must never become a sanctuary for compromise. Corruption in any form or any arm of government weakens the nation, but corruption in judiciary destroys it to the core. When justice is compromised, government loses its integrity and democracy loses its foundation.
Nuisance leleyi.
From a man that has bought everything buyable, a man that believes that whatever money cannot do, more money will do it. A man that believes that every man has a price, every institution has a price. And he succeeded in infiltrating all the reasonable institutions that could at least stand up to him. Enough right now that Nigerians have become so almost like powerless. They are on their own. They are watching the respectable institutions in the country who are supposed to actually, as corrupt as they claim the country was, right? They still expected some individuals from these institutions to stand up for the sake of the country. But rather, they have turned to praise singers, group of hired clappers, sycophants, who ordinarily, whenever they are around themselves, they pat themselves on the back, right? And they mock Nigerians. Justice is for sale in Nigeria. It is always for the highest bidder, unfortunately. We have seen that played out many times. I mean, gone are the days when you used to see some of the supposed activist judges that will go out of their ways and all of that, risk it all and make pronouncements based on the law that actually reflects the state of the supposed case, but not anymore. Today, ridiculous judgments are coming from the bench or coming from the courts, and the names and the faces of all these supposed judges are plastered all over this, their media as the culprits. So this whole thing has brought so much disrepute, distrust in the entire system. There was a time that people felt like the judiciary would be upright enough, as they should be. Unfortunately, they didn't. They disappointed Nigerians. The drug lord, certificate forger, an election rigger became the president of the country. And since then, it's been topsy, topsy, bumpy here and there. He kept telling them, even though you may be poor, but God will, So talking about integrity, for somebody like that to be preaching integrity, it's like, it's just mocking you to me. Then he also said, by the way, this was also today, with the supposed all judges conference, which this.
I stand on behalf of the government and the good people of our country, our deepest gratitude and abiding respect. The theme of this year's conference, building a confident judiciary, could not be more fitting. Confidence is the lifeblood of justice. A judgment may be grounded in law and delivered with clarity, but unless the public perceive it to be fair, impartial, and untainted, its moral authority is diminished. The confidence of the people is therefore not an abstract aspiration. It is a living measure of the judiciary's legitimacy and the true currency of justice. We must acknowledge with candor that public perception of the judicial process has not always been favorable. Citizens have expressed frustration at delays, concerns about integrity, and anxiety over access to justice. These perceptions, whether wholly justified or not, cannot be ignored. They call upon us to reflect, to reform, and to restore. For ultimately, justice does not exist for the bench or the bar. It exists for the people. Their faith in judicial process is the foundation of our national stability. In this regard, I wish to reaffirm with the clarity and conviction the unwavering commitment of my administration to support the judiciary in fulfilling its constitutional mandate. The judiciary does not exist in isolation. It functions within a larger democratic framework which all three arms of government must work in synergy with the mutual respect and share the responsibility to the Nigerian people.
But remember, they wrote it for him, so he's reading it. And he doesn't believe Jack from what he read. You know that? Anyway, the party and the government that doesn't have any respect for the rule of law, no respect for the court, they cherry pick which of the court judgments they want to or they should obey or ignore. And they are legendary for that. So the same government is preaching, trying to build confidence in the people because people have lost confidence, the blah, the blah, the blah. Right? So the judiciary in bed with a call. So no institution is pretty much on your side, if we have to say. A place where thuggery in your elections, where people's choice never reflects in the result of the kangaroo elections they have been conducting, where rigging right now is believed to have become the most potent tool of the APC, Egbekegbe, the easy way to remain in power or even access power. So before their bubble burst, right? An example of the characters around the Kolu who are indeed sabotaging what you can call the real rule of law, threat here and there, especially about the year 2027. This is from Kogi in the face of all this nonsense. And today, while the killings were going on, they were having a party in Kogi.
Our interest is in unraveling those behind the campaign of calumny against Mr. President. There's no any other personal interest in it, because we have to make sure we get to the root of this matter. Mr. President is doing all he could to fix this nation, and we are aware that there are some selfish and self-centered politicians that are using our people to cause crisis. And of course, apart from being government, I'm a responsible child. I should be Mr. President's grandchild, and anybody that's supposed to know the value of a father is now misbehaving. We have to show them that we, the children, we don't take it. So we have nothing so special. We will allow them. We are not going to do anything illegal. We will allow the security agencies or the law enforcement agencies to do their work diligently and do the needful.
Now tó ń fà máa òkúta tó wà ń bẹ̀ máa yọ kúrò ń bẹ̀ máa sá bí ìgbà tá bá ń sa ẹ̀wà.